Worldwide at
Good morning.
WOLDCnews.com. The views and opinions of the following show
I
do
love
not
it.
necessarily reflect the views and
It
opinions of News
is.
Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're rocking with the most ultimate. The Carl Nelson Show. You're rocking with the most ultimate. All right, let's go. Keep rocking. Keep
And good morning, Wake Up Squad. Thanks for starting your day with us again. Later, Washington, D.C. Grill. Baba Lumumba will take over our classroom. Baba Lumumba always provides us with some thought-provoking issues to discuss. This time around, Baba Lumumba will examine just two. He says two of the major problems impeding Black liberation. For Baba Lumumba, Black Women for Positive Changes, Dr. Stephanie Myers will talk about the group's Month of Nonviolence, Families, and Opportunities. To get us started, financial advisor Bryan is here. Good morning, JB.
It's great to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share some financial motivation. It's a great morning.
That's right.
Great morning.
It is. It's good because a lot of people we know are not here today, so it is a great
Woo!
morning. So
too many.
Everybody should appreciate that.
Too
JB,
many.
let's jump right into it because this inflation is going. It doesn't seem like it's easing. And the jobs report came out recently. You didn't get a chance to tell us about that, so I'll let you just tell us what's going on. Because I saw a report, and I think I sent it to you, about Generation Z. They're starting to pull back. They're not spending as much money. They're not eating out as much. They're eating at home. But the boomers, people in my age group, we seem to just don't really care about the inflation. It's not really affecting us. We're still out there spending and having fun. Can you explain what's going on here?
Well, you know why they can. See, people that have a guaranteed income, they already know how much they have to spend and they're still getting the same income. Now, as long as they don't allow their expenses to increase tremendously. But, we're thinking generally the boomers that they are researching are people that have their house paid off. And for the majority of every generation, that younger generation, they're still paying for their housing. They're still paying for childcare that's going up. And that's a big concern for parents that have to go to work, want to go to work, need to go to work. And how do I make sure that I keep my child safe? And so the boomers don't have that concern. Most of their, of course, most of their children are grown. So they, knowing that I'm going to get paid next week, I'm still going to have this money coming in. I have my Social Security, I have my pension, but the younger generations, they don't have pensions. Most of the jobs in corporate America, even the government has moved away from people depending on the pension. And now they're encouraging, forcing basically employees to take more of their own income to save for their future. So when your income or your account balance at retirement age is based on your contribution, so that their pension, even for the federal government, is lower now for the people coming up to retire, where the boomers, they got a larger pension and they didn't have to depend so much on their own spending habits. So I think that a lot of the boomers that they're doing the research on that are still spending, especially in our Black community, we need to be careful because they're saying that the deductibles on medical expenses are going to be going up for next year. And so what they'll do is your medical premium might stay the same and you feel like, oh, my bill, my income is still doing good, but the money out of pocket is going to increase on what you're going to have to spend for the doctor visit or for the lab work or for the different there's less things that are going to be covered so that your premium will stay the same, but the cost of medical care is going up tremendously.
All right, let me ask you this, because you worked on the advertising side as well.
Mhm.
And, for advertisers, the sweet spot is females 25 to 54. So that is sort of excludes the boomers. What do they do now that many of these Generation Z youngsters, young people, I should say, are sitting home and not spending money? Are they going to have to recalculate, or are they going to have to start pushing now their products and goods and services to boomers?
Well, I think there's already a movement towards that, where they'll do discounts for seniors. Casinos depend tremendously on seniors to have their spending to continue. So they really advertisers do not depend a lot on that young dollar, the younger dollar. And they even more, there's an emphasis in advertisements. You'll see older people in the advertisement, or so many ads on pharmaceuticals and medicines that will bombard you. So definitely that's a very good point. I think that what's happening in the younger worker is that they're using the credit card too much in order to make purchases. And I'm getting a lot of feedback on people saying, I can't afford this credit card payment. And I'm talking about, people, young people still working that didn't have a problem making that payment. But now the interest rates are higher. So their minimum payment in many cases has doubled and tripled. So it used to be $100 a month. Now it's $300 a month for that $15,000 credit card, balance.
15,000. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
It
And
just hurts just to say that somebody's got a 15,000 owes $15,000 on a credit card. But let me jump onto this subject.
Hear it all the time.
It's common. That's what you say.
Oh yeah.
JB? It's common.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
All the time. Or 10 different, not even, I'm exaggerating with 10, but 3 or 4 different credit cards with at least 10,000 on them. No, now I don't get that a lot from Black men, but definitely it is common for Black women. And that is, a lot of stress on having to deal with that. Like and we need to adapt a different behavior of where if I can't afford it, I'm not going to get it. Period. And I think it's especially in our community that we have to move away from um, material things, especially as we move towards the holidays. And I'm doing research right now on myself, like because I sold my car, and I have been using my motorcycle or walking or public transportation for how I take care of everything. Even this morning, I got to the studio, it's about 20 miles away from my residence for our special time. And I was like, whoa, I didn't think about when I go out at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning, how do you do that? And the buses weren't open. But the buses, I got up before the public transportation in Virginia. But many of our listeners are in places where, and I have lots of clients in Baltimore and Washington, D.C., that are, and I live in the Richmond, Virginia is where my residence that I spend most of my time. Their public transportation has not caught up with the need for the community that they need to serve. And I would not know that unless I did that move, which I made, because I said this vehicle, though it's paid for, is costing to me too much to keep it running. Like, so I was excited that it was paid for, but I spent $3,000 plus on the last time I maintained it. And then it went back, the light came on again. And I said, I am not going to put any more money into this investment. It's bad. And I need to move more and be healthy. So in addition to, I do 10,000 plus steps a day. It's saving my life. It's saving my pocket as well. So I think that
I get that, but let me jump in and ask you this though, JB. It's getting cooler. It's soon be getting colder.
Yeah.
Aren't you concerned about the weather?
It was 40 degrees this morning, but No, I'm not. You know, when we need to get more accustomed to bad weather. No, and if I ride the motorcycle, it goes down 10 degrees. So you really feel the wet, you feel the coolness. But that if you're saving, even if you have to do Uber to where you're going because you're so early, like I had to do, then but you don't, and I was able to do work and stuff while it was driving me in and everything. But I'm not gonna do Uber back because I'm right in front of a bus stop and it will take me straight back to my office on this main street. And none of this did I plan out to that. But I know I'm always constantly talking to people about the car costs too much for us. I can't imagine how much money people are wasting if they have a car payment because over the 30 days, I've only had to use Uber twice. Had to. So I think that we stay too much in we have to be comfortable. And the last time I used Uber was because it was the end of a work day and I was really, really tired because I had done like 17,000 steps that day, plus worked out, lifted that morning. And I was like, okay, you deserve a Uber. But it only cost me $10 because it was late. It was after peak hours. So we need to realize like that how much money and I'm gonna start like just keeping up with it. And maybe in the spring, but I really don't want to buy. Like I can get right into my DC office from Richmond, train station to train station. My office is right above Metro Center. So you get on the train in Virginia, go right into, um the train station and then get on the metro system and then go to right under my office, walk up steps. So look at all these steps I'm taking and the work that I get done and the reduction in risk because I'm not, and I can't get stuck in traffic, hopefully. But I have been on a train where something did go wrong and they will sit you there. So things can go wrong. I've had a client that she takes the train in to DC. Like things do go wrong. But the engineer here in this studio, he was saying he was traveling in Europe, trains everywhere. So we were at least with my car paid for, having my vehicle cost me at least $1,000 a month with it already paid for. Because
Wow.
for the rest of
Was
my
that
life,
gas?
I'm never going to. I'm never. I pray to God never have a car payment again. I grew up in a household where having a car payment was commonplace. You didn't think about that. See, so when I said I'm getting rid of this car, I started thinking about what type of lump sum do I need to make sure I set aside for that next purchase. And that's the way we should be looking at it. Like, and
Yeah.
then when you look at it as a
I
lump
totally
sum,
agree.
yeah, when we look at it as a lump sum, you start reconsidering maybe walking to the bus, it ain't that bad. I could buy me a heated coat if it's all that. But when you get into it, that it's really helpful. I remember my cousin in New Jersey, she said, when I bought,
Hold that
uh-huh,
story there about your cousin because we come up on a break.
great,
And
great.
first, I got to ask you: are you broadcasting live across social media so our
Yes,
folks can
yes,
see what you look like, how
yes,
fit you are?
indeed. Yes, indeed. Right
JB's
here.
a biker chick.
That's right.
Family,
That's
she's
right.
out there on a bike, as she mentioned, as cool as it is
That's
this morning.
right.
So, what platforms are you on, JB?
Everything. Go to YouTube, go to Facebook, go to LinkedIn. You'll see JV on Carl Nelson Show right now. And even on that new X, it's streaming. So we're everywhere.
All right.
Right.
All right, hold that thought there, folks. While you check that out, we're going to take a short break and take our first look at the traffic and weather. And we come back with JB Bryan. You got some questions about finances? Reach out to us at 800-450-7876. And when we come back to, I want to ask you about folks retiring and not having enough money to
Good.
retire. And all of a sudden, they got to go back in the job market.
Mm.
What are your thoughts, folks? You got questions? Hit us up. We'll be back in 4 minutes with JB Bryan right here in Baltimore on 1010 WOLB. Also in the DMV, we're on FM 95.9 and AM 1450. WOL, where information is power.
I'm going to post Carl's number. Ads. Let me get you that number. I hope y'all can get in. I think I sent out the wrong link at first. His number. Call's number is 1-800-844-7876.
Good morning. Traffic sponsored by Unbound.org. Looks like an early problem in Laurel, southbound on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway. Crash reported between 197 and Powder Mill Road. Parkway's on the way to check it out. Expect delays to begin about halfway between 198 and 197. Northbound, your lanes are all open. Indication you can't really see much of what's going on over on the other side of the road. Inside the Beltway, the Parkway looks good all the way down into Northeast. 50 John Hanson Highway, good from Bowie to the Beltway, but already a little busy after 202. On the way in towards Kenilworth Avenue. DC 295 is slow south of Eastern Avenue down past East Capitol Street. Congestion northbound on 295. Suitland Parkway across the 11th Street Bridge and head for 695. Nothing reported stopped in or along the roadway. Partly sunny today going up to 64. Partly cloudy tonight, low 44. 54 now at Reagan National. A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it'll change your own. Unbound.org. I'm Robert Workman for News Talk 1450 AM WOL. More information is power.
The One VIP Visa debit card makes managing money simple and easy. There is no cost to get the card and no credit check. Enroll in direct deposit and stop paying check cashing fees. Hassle-free and easy, just like it should be. Go to onevip.com and get your card today. The One VIP Visa prepaid card is issued by Stride Bank, NA member FDIC. Pursuant to a license from Visa USA, Inc. Use of the One VIP card is subject to terms and conditions.
The WETA local series Signature Dish is back. Seth Tillman takes viewers on a culinary and cultural adventure across the region for that one-of-a-kind dish you just have to try. On Monday, October 23rd, Seth explores the innovative world of fusion cuisine, where culinary traditions collide and create something new. Signature Dish airs Mondays at 9 p.m. on WETA PBS and 8 p.m. on WETA Metro, or stream it on the PBS app.
He's someone who knows that you don't have to sacrifice comfort for quality. Someone who lives large in life and in the bedroom. Take your pleasure to the next level with the new Magnum Raw condoms, the thinnest Magnum condom. More natural feeling, same premium latex to help reduce the risk of pregnancy and STIs. Live large and now thinner than ever with new Magnum Raw condoms. The thinnest Magnum condoms available where condoms are sold. Magnum large size condoms, the gold standard, except no substitutes.
The questions begin from the moment you get the cancer diagnosis.
What if I can't fight it? What if I can't recover? What if I can't dance at my daughter's wedding?
But what if you can? At the Johns Hopkins Kimmel Cancer Center, our trailblazing oncologists ask, what if? Leading the world through 50 years of cancer expertise. And we brought it all to you at Sibley Memorial Hospital and Suburban Hospital. Johns Hopkins Medicine, world-leading cancer care in your community. HopkinsCancerDC.org.
Tonight at 8/7 Central on VH1, DC Young Fly hosts the new Celebrity Squares, where contestants play, party, and get paid. Tap in for new topics, big cash prizes, and nonstop fun with special guests Tay Diggs, Nene Leakes, Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, Lunell, and Tisha Campbell. From executive producer Kevin Hart comes the new Celebrity Squares. Premieres tonight at 8/7 Central on VH1.
Though Phi no longer drives, he can still fly down the track. Staying fit helps Phi stay flexible in his ongoing fight with retinitis pigmentosa, a blinding retinal disease. But even when the way forward is hard to see, Phi is always hopeful because he knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding diseases, providing real hope to those fighting vision loss. And our nationwide community of local chapters provides networking and support for people with vision loss, as well as their loved ones. Because the best way to fight against blinding diseases is to fight together. And for Phi, winning the fight against vision loss means seeing new ways to push himself, The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Learn more about how you can help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher because they know a lot of awesome stuff. I'll stand in front of the class and make sure everyone knows what I know.
If your child is sick over and over again, it could be PI, a serious defect of the immune system. Early testing gives children a chance to dream.
And when I'm a teacher, my favorite subject will be recess.
Jeffrey Modell Foundation, helping children reach for their dreams. Visit info4pi.org.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
Good morning again, family. 20 minutes after the top of the hour, we're talking money with JB Bryan. You got a question about finances, what to do, especially with these interest rates going up. Or if you're a retiree, we're going to take a look at that too. Many retirees now have to rethink their financial program because now they're finally running out of money and they're still here. So JB is here to help you folks. You got a question, 800-450-7876. Before we take the calls for JB, you're about to tell us about your cousin in New Jersey, so I'll let you finish that story.
Well, we were talking, health and wealth, and that she actually said that when she purchased her car, and she purchased her car when she got in her 50s, that was the first car she ever had, and she gained 30 pounds. Now, I don't know, we'd have to do extensive research on if it was directly connected to the car purchase, but I noticed that the additional steps that we do take to get to the bus stops that you're taking for public transportation or to the train station, are, of course, very good for your health. So, people that are moving more are getting in additional steps, are getting better circulation, reducing their chances of heart disease, and keeping more money in their pocket. And from the health perspective, which I was just saying about our baby boomers who are paying so much out of pocket because of health issues. And this is sad to say, but we know it's true. It's from sitting down for that 30 plus years of being so sedentary. And honestly, from now stepping more and pushing the car away, even though like that which is comfortable to us, like is not the best thing that's for us. That and from a Black health perspective, if we looked at the increase in Black car purchases, we would definitely find out, I believe, that our health has declined as the number of vehicles in the household have increased and our wealth went down. The wealth went down. Like you can, have a car payment that will stop you from being able to save what you need to into your retirement plan. But I'll also,
hold on, because Mark has joined us from Baltimore. Has got a question for her at 23 minutes after the top of the hour. Good morning, Mark. You're on with JB Bryan.
Morning, Mark.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody. I was listening to you in the previous segment about your experience using Uber and all and the different transportation modes. My question is, with finances so high, if you choose, instead of buying a car and all that and using Uber or Lyft, as we have here in Baltimore, or some other form of transportation, when you're picking a company that's going to be, is the subway service here, I won't talk about public transportation in Baltimore. It's not like Washington, D.C. Okay. But when you're picking a company that's going to transport you, you're paying by the hour. What are you looking for when Uber, Lyft, or some of these other car companies, that's what they do, is transporting people, so you don't have to do the driving. What are some of the things, key ideas that you're looking for to save money?
And there's so many ways to make it more organized also. Like you can now add stops to your trip. So the price if you're paying like $20 to get to where you're going, but you need to also go by the drugstore, to pick up something, instead of having to pay for that delivery for that drugstore, they will already fill in that price. And it's not going to be different, really. That they will stop at Walgreens on the way for you to get to your next stop. So again, the way to save money requires planning and intelligence. And like so and the time that you choose to do that, if you're not going to use public transportation but you want to have a exclusive trip and you want to use the Lyft, then call it in ahead of time and look at the different prices and the different times. If you do like 5:15 versus saying pick me up at 5:00, and look at how the price will go down at 5:15, or look at how the difference of price will be if you do 6:00. Like if you do from 5 to 6, I'm going to take a walk. Now, you could really save a lot of money by being health conscious, because if you walk to a different destination, the price could go down a lot. So if you're away from somewhere, but you can walk for 30 minutes to get to a main street, get to that main street that will pick you up there. You brought down the price of that exclusive ride down substantially, and the driver will feel safer as well. So get away from, any like inside the community, any convenience, and walk out so that it will be a less expensive pickup and less risk to you and the driver as well. Get yourself to a highly lit and really good, place where you can be seen on cameras and everything. But that's a very, very, very good point. We're going to have to think it through. Like, logic, planning is vital to our financial success, and become more comfortable being uncomfortable. So when it really matters, you have the money that you need to take care of business.
Right. Let me jump in here. And for the folks out in LA and on the West Coast, where they don't have, great transportation, public transportation like on the East Coast, now they've just built a subway system, not a subway, a rail system in LA. But your car is part of your persona. It's more important what you drive than where you live, because that's what people see.
That's right.
It's part of, it's part of you. So there's a lot of personal pressure,
That's right.
to have a good ride. You got to look good. It's part of your I guess, how can I say? It's part of how you dress.
That's
part
right.
Of your dress. It's an extension of your dress
That's right.
code.
That's
the kind
right.
of car that you drive, and they all of a sudden they calculate where you are on the social ladder by the kind of car that you drive.
That's right.
What do you say to those folks who are under those personal pressures?
Down south is like that too. It's what you drive, like North Carolina, Atlanta, Virginia, all of that. Especially, I think it's a lot of pressure on our men, because a woman will choose a man, unfortunately, based on the car. There's people on social media that do videos about that, like, that women are just attracted to him because he has this expensive car that's not even his. So we have to lift above that mentality and realize that, those are the things that don't indicate money. And there are so many ways. Like, if a person was doing the flexing, try to do flexing in a ride sharing program. Like, there's programs, there's like apps now where you can share cars. So you say, I need to have a car. Instead of renting a car, I need a car on Thursday. You got to plan ahead, though, and they will tell you exactly where to go to get that car on Thursday. And you can say, and I'm going to leave it, across town, or just like what you do with those bicycles where you just swipe with the card. But you'll set up an account with them, and it's less expensive than having to rent the car. But also in California, you have the advantage of, from my perspective, because I'm in Virginia, I don't know, but you have better weather. Like, you don't have to worry about 40 degrees this morning. Now, so with you having, but it might probably at night, like it gets, or when it's dark, it gets really cold there too. But get on the bike, get the gloves, get yourself the gear. If we get our money out of the stuff that we're just throwing it away, because literally cars depreciate. These vehicles are depreciating. So, and we start thinking about what kind of asset can I purchase with the money that I'm using, like getting my gloves, getting an e-bike, getting a bicycle. These things are going to help your health. And then you get like a folded up e-bike, a fraction of the cost of a car. And it doesn't even have to be, a motorcycle, just a bicycle that has the electronic features if that's what you want. So you don't have to worry, what if I get tired? Then you just put it into the e-bike mode and go. But avoid financing. Just save until you get to that point. But I saw a video on this man, and he had 4 kids, and they lived like in Idaho, or it was like somewhere like in the middle of what we would see as nothing. And he said he does not have a car. It has helped his family. They walk, they ride, they take the kids with the stroller if they have to, and they talk to each other. It's helped the family, and it just felt like it has just been better for them. And they go and get to the closest metro or train if they have to go far. But he just said, I'm not going to buy a vehicle. And then, and then you factor in the money that he's been able to save for and take care of his family with, that you actually one of the people could stay at home. I'm not going to say like it has to be the woman that stays at home, but we're putting almost as much as some people's salary into a car. So they're costing you, like some people are going to work and it's costing your family more for them to go to work, because then you got to get childcare for all your 3 children. It's costing more for them to go to work than if they just stay, and they have to have a car because you're going to 2 different jobs. That's the way we see things. So we're not getting ahead at all. And I remember when my mom and dad would drive the same car. And one day my mother just got upset, but I was in high school and I'm the youngest of 4. So she didn't get upset till way late in the game, but they would drive together every day. And that was a sacrifice. But when she got upset and went there and got a car, and it was contrary to the direction that they should have been going, because they were at the same workplace. But she was like, I'm tired of waiting for you. And she didn't get a good vehicle, but it was her liberation experience. And then after that, they had to, eventually get a better car. But from then on, she always had another car. And there was, think about, are we wasting money, and is it taking away from the family unit? Because for many couples, that's when they talk. That's when you really get to talk before you go pick up the kids and this and that. But we're not getting that type of time. And it probably helped them get to death. I mean, like, they were together, and you're talking about death do us part. They were together forever until my father passed, 58 years. But maybe it was because they spent that time together, and we're not getting that now. So we have more breakdown on the family. And I was looking at the child tax credit that now, the government is not giving any, support to our lower income households anymore. They're reducing it. The states are reducing it, and you still have to go to work. But it needs to be addressed by our politicians that the higher income person is getting up to an $8,000 credit for their children. $8,000. So, and that's called, and it started in 2001, the American Rescue Plan. And a household can make up to, this says taxpayers with an adjusted income over $438,000 are not eligible. So everybody under $438,000 can get up to $8,000 back into their house as a credit.
Yeah. Hold that thought right there, JB. We got to take a short break, take our first look at the news, traffic, and weather. When we come back, though, because there are some complaints about elderly people or who have retired and have to unretire because now they find their finances are tight. What's the job market? Do you have any advice for those folks who are going through that now? Because they see that, and again, with inflation, their money doesn't go as far as it used to go. So I want you to help those folks out when we get back. As I mentioned, family, we got to step aside and get caught up on the latest news, traffic, and weather in our different cities. 26 minutes away from the top of the hour. If you got a question about finances, there's a lady you need to talk to. Her name is JB Bryan. Reach out to us. We'll take your calls in 4 minutes. Right here in Baltimore on 1010 WOLB, and also in the DMV on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Great. Great. He's doing Queen Howard. Grand Rising right back at you. I see you. Thank you. Thank you, JJ's mama. Love it. I love it. Mm-hmm. Yes. Gotta wake up. Gotta wake up. Get y'all up there. This is down here, but you're up there.
Good morning, folks. I'm Earl Kirk. Here's the latest from NewsOne.com. President Biden is taking a trip to Israel.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken said Monday during a briefing after meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that the president will make the trip on Wednesday. Biden's expected to meet with Netanyahu and other Israeli leaders. He was invited to Egypt for an international summit on Saturday that focuses on the future of Palestinians, but it's unclear if he would make any additional stops. I'm Bryan Shook.
The U.S. Marshal Service says a man wanted in the mass shooting at Morgan State University in Baltimore is also being sought on federal charges in D.C. 18-year-old Jovan Williams also faces drug and weapons charges in the district and is allegedly connected to a gang. Nearly $20,000 in reward money is being offered for info on his whereabouts. Several people were arrested Monday during a protest outside the White House. Around 500 American Jews aligned with the group If Not Now blocked entrances as they protested the impending ground invasion of Gaza by Israeli forces. Some who jumped over a security barrier were taken into custody. The group is calling on President Biden to demand a ceasefire. Montgomery County Schools is changing the way administrators are promoted. This comes after the recent flap where a staff member was elevated to principal despite numerous allegations of harassment and bullying. Now, anyone under investigation will not be considered for promotion, and stronger background checks will be conducted. 2 D.C. universities are among 2 of the best in the nation for music business degrees. Howard and American made Billboard magazine's ranking, which is based on ratings of executive recommendations, alumni, and information requests for each school. Monday Night Football, Cowboys beat the Chargers 20-17. NLCS Game 1, Phillies down the D-backs 5-3. ALCS, Rangers edged the Astros 5-4 to go up 2-0. I'm Earl Kirk. When you're looking for news for Black America, go to newsone.com.
Good morning. Traffic sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance, southbound Baltimore Washington Parkway. Not bad now in Laurel. Early morning fender bender near 197. Good memory. Slow across the Beltway from Greenbelt Road on the way down towards 410 and then better into Northeast 50 John Hanson Highway. Sluggish off and on from 410 as you head for the Anacostia River. Most of the heavy traffic continues down DC 295 towards East Capitol Street, while New York Avenue is just brief signal light delays in the northwest. Outer loop of the Beltway, slowing from I-95 over through Silver Spring. You're exiting onto southbound New Hampshire Avenue from the Beltway. It's going to be slow down towards the Delphi Road. Accident there, blocking the left and right sides of the roadway, so you stay right down the middle to continue down through Langley Park. Partly sunny today, going up to 64. Partly cloudy tonight, low 44. 53 now at Reagan National. Questions about youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit organization, develops better athletes and better people through youth and high school sports. Info at positivecoach.org. I'm Robert Workman for News Talk 1450 AM WOL. Information is power.
Have you heard? Prince George's County is hosting the Fall 2023 Growing Green with Pride cleanup event on Saturday, October 21st. This event is part of the overall beautification efforts throughout the county. Come out for a day of cleaning, litter collection, weed removal, and mulching in your community. Students can even earn service learning hours. Register today at pgc.us/growing green. Join us in helping keep our county the crown jewel of Maryland. And remember, litter does not grow like grass.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-481-8144. 800-481-8144. 800-481-8144.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Disability is not inability. A person's ability may be different, but still an ability, no matter one's race or age, no matter one's physical or mental condition. We all have limitless possibilities. For more than 100 years, Easter Seals has helped the 1 in 4 people with disabilities in America live, work, learn, and play. I'm Angela Williams, CEO of Easter Seals.
For more information, visit easterseals.com.
Now back to the Carl Nelson Show.
Yeah.
And good morning, family. Thanks for rolling with us this morning. 21 minutes away from the top of the hour with our guest, J.B. Bryan. J.B. discussing finances. You got a financial question. This is a lady you need to pose a question to. And we'll deal with that momentarily. Let me just remind you, though, coming up later this morning, we're going to speak with Griot Baba Lumumba. He works out of Emoji House in Washington, D.C. You know, Brother Jamal used to always say this on the program back in the day, put on your black hat and think black. Well, anyway, he's always coming up with these thought-provoking issues to discuss. This time around, he's going to explain why he's going to explore 2 of the major problems impeding black liberation. But before we hear from Baba Lumumba, Black Women for Positive Changes, Dr. Stephanie Myers will be here to talk about the month of nonviolence, families, and opportunities. And later this week, historian Dr. Walter Williams will be with us. We'll get a view of how it all started, what's going on in Palestine, the Gaza Strip, all of that. And he's going to break it down for us date by date. Also, Morgan State University Professor Dr. Raymond Bush will be here. Metaphysician Dr. B will also join us. And the Baltimore activist Captain Andrew will join us as well. So if you're in Baltimore, make sure your radio's locked in tight on 1010 WOLB. If you're in the DMV, you're on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL. JB, before we left for the news, traffic, and weather update, I was saying that I'm hearing reports about seniors now who have retired for some time, and now that the money, either their money's running out or the economy, the inflation is really hurting them, and they're in a quandary about what to do, what's their next move. Some are not healthy enough to go back into the job market or too old to go back into the job market. Do you have any advice for those folks?
Yeah,
how to readjust their income?
And what I've noticed is that we undervalue ourselves. And I, was reading an article about Charlie Munger. He's 90 years old, multi-billionaire, and Warren Buffett almost, approaching 90. Look at our president, it's like, look at the other candidate for president. Like, grown people, they're not undervaluing themselves. They notice that over time, they have more to offer to the world. But when we get into that job mentality of when I retire or when I'm pushed out, that there's no value that I can provide. And we are really bad about doing that in our community. And I remember this lady joined, and she told me she was working somewhere. She had worked in corporate and in an assembly line environment for 30 plus years. And she took a job and she was making $10 an hour. Now, of course, she did very well in corporate America. Assembly line or not, she was making a lot of money. Got a pension now, Social Security, everything. But I told her there is absolutely no way you should leave your house for $10 an hour. No, you cannot do it. You got to get a raise. And nobody had ever told her that. Nobody had ever said, you're worthy, that you definitely should be demanding more than that. And then, and the job that she took, was at, unfortunately, or she was at a nonprofit, and they would use her to do administrative work and then put her on a committee for somewhere else and not pay her for that time at all. So I was like, there's way too many hours, but it was like I turned a light on. So hopefully someone out there listening right now realizes that you have a lot to offer. The more you mature, the more that you've done, no matter what, you're in a work environment for that extended amount of time, the discipline that takes to do that, you can do anything. All you have to do is be willing to learn and find yourself in an environment that needs it and appreciates you. So now then she went into security work, making more than twice that much. No, and she just has to sit there and people come into the building and she's doing so much better. And now it's, and her confidence increased so much, tremendously, not to mention how many bills that she was able to pay off for that, with that. So I think that a big part for our entire community, young and older, is start seeing yourself more valuable. What is amazing to me is that our young people generally think that they have more to offer in the workplace than the people that have actually been there the longest. They're coming in 6 months and asking for a raise. Like,
Yeah, but JB, on the real side of it, though, people who've been on the job for a while, they're getting replaced by younger people who the company will pay them less, and then some have been there for a while and if they're thinking about retiring, they're going to be on a fixed income. What percentage of money, if you think for those who are thinking to have retirement in their review, what percentage of money should you be bringing in so that your standard of living will be the same when you quit?
Well, so you need about 70 to 80% of your current income during retirement. If you're not, doing something crazy with your money, you should not need the same amount of money. If you're not going, in and having, you have a reduction in gas, you should not be eating out as much. You're at home, you have time to cook and everything. So when you retire, you should not have to have 100% of the same income, but you may need to have more than what just the pension is offering, or just, what you saved is not going to be enough. And that is assuming that you're over 59 and a half, because research shows that we as a people retire earlier than the majority community. So that's most likely, I think, rooted in we're not the boss. We're less likely to be the boss. So when you're not the boss, you're not going to work till you're 80 and 90 in most situations, because you didn't have any autonomy. You didn't have the ability to say, well, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. So you're looking for an opportunity where you're looking forward to retirement so that you can have control over your day. But that's also the reason that I like that we discuss entrepreneurship, because you can see the value. If you start your own business, then you can see the value of all of this time that you spent. Like, say, and heard people that spent 30 years in manufacturing, to me, they're a safety expert. That's the way I see them, that they know the things that are required, and all they need to do is study it a little bit. And there's a whole bunch of industries that will want them to come in and do safety consulting, because they know, oh, when a person does this, then they're going to, and cite out risk. But then now you're creating a huge opportunity for yourself. That could be $100,000 contract. That could be $1 million government contract that you do state safety inspection, things like that. But we have to get yourself. That's the benefit of, what I do with the entrepreneurship membership for AfroEconomics. like help you open your mind to opportunities in it, or as an entrepreneur, open your mind to additional that abilities that you have or things that you could be doing to increase the income for it. But in order to do any of the things that ultimately help us make more money, is it requires that we have confidence, that we become certain about what we have to offer, literally certain about it, not just you know how to speak and then you can't really do what you're promising. But when you're the person that can do this, that you do know about, you know, and you can side out what, oh, they don't have their shirt and they don't have their hard toe shoes on, they don't have their hat on at the work site. That is engineering. I have we have one member, he makes 150,000, and that's all he does is sit at the work site and point out errors and to protect the company, because them paying them 150 helps them avoid $1 million lawsuit. But also,
let me just be a 10 away from the top of the hour, though, JB, for the younger set who are thinking about, you know, Social Security. Your thoughts on that? Because the politicians have been attempting to tap into that Social Security money and Medicare, Medicaid. What advice do you have for them? How should they buffer that? How should they, you know, just protect themselves just in case when they get ready to retire, you know, the money's not there.
Well,
their money.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. No, we're going to get at minimum what, you know, we put in. Like if whatever they do to change the system, the government is not going to rob us. So you're putting in 7.5, the employer is putting in 7.5, like 15% of your income goes towards, you know, Social Security. If they're allocating it into other areas or not investing it well, we might get into an environment where they say, okay, you can talk to your investment advisor and take your 15% any direction that you want. Now, you know, my industry, I would love for that to happen, because, you know, we would have at our fingertips a lot more money. Like we are more likely to have much more taxable income in our community. We put a lot of money into that Social Security bucket, into that taxation bucket, merely because we're less likely to have businesses. So we're less likely to be able to write off the expenses associated with creating that income. So we're paying a lot, and tax strategies have to be on the top of our mind. I was telling you about a story of a client that the tax preparer made a mistake on her tax return, and it was an $18,000 error. So I called the tax preparer because she was afraid to. I called the tax preparer and I said, you're not acknowledging the income that she's made on this property. So therefore, you're not acknowledging the expenses associated with that. This needs to be, an amendment needs to be done because she incurred these expenses this year. It can't be written off next year. And the person said, well, I don't, the tax preparer. So then my Black client that sent in $18,000 that she wasn't supposed to send in, cancel her membership because I stood up for her. I know it because she called afterwards, and we've been calling her like, you know, let's talk, where, you know, this and that. And she did not want to tell me that they never did the amendment. And I told the lady, I said, according to the IRS rule, you are supposed to report every smidgen of income that you make. But the lady didn't want to report the income associated with that business because she didn't want her to have those tax write-offs connected to it. I said, businesses generate a loss all the time, and you're doing it wrong. You're making an error. And then the client backed off on me, even though the mistake was not with me. I'm standing up for her. She didn't have the confidence to stand up for herself. Sad. I see it all the
I'll let
time.
you finish your story on the other side. We got to take a short break. And if you come back to if you go through things like that quite a bit, folks are afraid to stand up for themselves, and you have to step in.
Yeah,
Folks,
and then they get mad.
We're talking We're Talking Money with JB Bryan, and she's broadcasting across social media. You can check her out there. Just Google her name, and it will come up. But we got to check the traffic and weather in our different cities and the news for our listeners in Baltimore. We'll be back in 4 minutes at 6 away from the top of the hour, right here in Baltimore on 1010 WOLB. Also in the DMV on FM 95.9 and AM 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Only if we use it. Yeah, information can be power, but you gotta have the heart to use it. Good morning, Miss Patrick. Morning. Miss Patrick. Queen Howard, you still awake over there? You still awake over there? Oh my goodness. I brought my breakfast with me, and I smell it. I smell it like oozing up this room. And then I cooked some chicken and some and a potato.
Good morning. Traffic sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance. In over the Beltway, slowing near 210 to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge.
People act like potatoes are the enemy.
On 210 between
What's going on in Stone Mountain?
Very slow.
Oh, that's right, Queen Howard.
Swan Creek Road.
Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Northbound on 295.
Man,
See a few brake lights
the proud and the brave.
And again, approaching the ramp for the 11th Street Bridge that puts you onto westbound
That's funny.
95. That looks pretty busy over towards the 3rd
Funny,
Street.
honey.
There be a new issue there. Suitland Parkway loading up now from Branch Avenue to Stanton Road, also near Sterling Avenue. Brief signal light delays along New York Avenue through Northeast. Southbound Kenilworth Avenue, pretty busy between Eastern Avenue and East Capitol Street. Partly sunny today, going up to 64. Partly cloudy tonight, low 44. 53 now.
Click like if you enjoyed.
High school sports, Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA
I don't remember making that.
Develops better athletes and better
Please share and subscribe.
Info at positivecoach.org. I'm Robert Workman for News Talk 1450 AM WDOL.
Pound that like button. Pound that.
When I was younger,
I heard some guy do that. Pound that like button. Pound it.
That's right. I'm Jamal. I work for youth advocate programs. Yeah.
I have 1,359 people watching right now. I should have 1,000 likes. You're like, yeah, right, JB.
You can have a change of action.
It's probably like 100,000.
And I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
No, she's a good student and a great kid. As
It's
Jalen's
late
youth
now.
advocate, I'm always here for her. With the youth advocate
I'm going to stay
program,
on for a
I was
minute
able to connect with
after
Jalen.
after Carl leaves us. I'm going to stay on for a minute. Not a minute, more than a minute.
After completing our program,
at least 30 minutes.
86% of participants were arrest-free. YAP worked.
I'm going to stay for 30 minutes, do some questions, talk about some key stuff.
Youth advocate programs. Others talk
I want
social
to talk a
change.
little
We make
bit
it
more
happen.
about the
Learn how
child
at
and dependent care tax
yapinc.org.
credit.
Do you worry about
So
how
I'm
much
gonna touch
someone
it.
drinks?
And then
Do you feel angry
we're
or
going to talk
depressed
about
most of the time?
Wednesday, 8 p.m.
Do you feel neglected or
We're going
unloved?
to talk about
Do you feel you
Friday
attract
morning
people
at 9
to be
a.m.
compulsive or abusive?
Our members
Do you have
only
money
meeting.
problems because of someone else's drinking?
Yeah,
Are
we're going
you
to talk
afraid
about
or embarrassed
the
to bring your
tax
friends home?
consequences
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or
of
he would stop drinking?
If you
Jada
answered yes to any of these questions, you are
saying
not
that
alone.
they're
More than
not
half
really
of all
together
adults
for
have a
7
family
years,
history of alcoholism.
and that Will
Not
Smith
everyone
might get a
trapped by
tax audit.
alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and
I don't know.
friends
Look,
are
only I
suffering.
would see it that way.
Al-Anon and
Oh,
Alice
thank you.
can help. Call
Keep it real.
1-866-200-0223.
It's true.
Visit
We
alanon.org.
gotta have confidence
Vision loss
to
is
receive
not something
the
that you
love that
feel
God
until
has
it
out here for
happens.
us. Like,
Most
you know,
people
but if
lose
we
their
don't
vision
care
from
about
diseases
ourselves,
like
then we're gonna
macular
pick on
degeneration and glaucoma.
the
Not
very
at birth. With
the
macular
very
degeneration,
source
you lose your
that
visual
God
vision.
gave
You have
us
a blind spot right in the
for
center of your face,
enlightenment.
so I can't actually see your face.
No, because we want to stay in like a victimization space, and
I was
that's not
65
where God wants
when I
us.
first was diagnosed
No,
with
God
glaucoma.
doesn't want us to feel like a victim.
I had no
God
headache.
wants us to
3
be
million Americans
victorious.
have glaucoma,
He's made us
and
victorious. He's going
don't
to
even know
give
it.
us
11 million
everything
people in
that
the
we
United
need
States
in order
have
to
macular
be
degeneration.
our
You
best
lose
selves.
mobility independence
He
changes
said
your
JB, Will and Jada,
So
nah.
many
And
eye disorders
from a
can be
tax
treated if
perspective,
caught early.
My husband
you
tells
and
me that
you
I
know,
have beautiful
I
brown
think about
eyes,
it. I worry
and
about
I
that.
don't want to lose that.
Not
Make a
about
plan
like
today.
from a
Get your eyes
personal
checked.
way,
Visit brightfocus.org
but
to learn more.
if you're filing as
The
you're
mission of
married, but you're
Paralyzed by
actually
Freedom
not
America is
together and
clear.
you're separated, you
Accessibility.
know, the difference between married filing
Veterans who have
separately
served and
and
sacrificed the best of
married, like,
themselves deserve
you know,
access to the best
imagine
our
if they're
country
doing
has
their
to offer.
return
Access
as,
to meaningful
you know,
employment.
married at the
Access to
same
the
address
veterans
or
benefits
whatever.
they've
And
earned.
then she's saying this
Accessible homes and
publicly
vehicles.
that, you know, we're not married,
Access
we're
to
separate.
every part of their community.
No. So if
With
you're
PVA staff
getting
working
certain tax
inside VA
benefits
hospitals, no other veterans
for
organization
the
has
married,
provided more real-time,
but you're not, you
ongoing
should be doing
support
married
for
filing
paralyzed
separately.
veterans and
You
their
know,
families.
the
VA is proud to
auditors
serve
at the
veterans across
IRS
all
will
branches,
look into that,
all generations,
like
and all conflicts.
how actually should a tax
Our
has
nation's
been
heroes
filed.
fought for your independence. Join PVA
And the
in fighting for theirs at
and they're saying, oh, my
PVA.org.
tax preparer should have done that.
WOL
But I wonder if they
Washington,
really have been doing married filing
DJ
separately
Washington,
all those years.
95.9 WMMJ,
What are the advantages,
HD3
disadvantages
Bethesda,
of that?
WKYS, HD3 Washington, WPRS, HD3 Waldorf, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.
The Carl Nelson Show.
You're rocking with the most ultimate. All right, let's go. Keep rocking. Keep rocking.
Good morning again, family. Minute after the top of the hour with the financial advisor, J.B. Bryan. Dr. Stephanie Myers from Black Women for Positive Changes on deck. We'll get to her momentarily. Let's wrap up with J.B. So, J.B., I'll let you finish the story, and because I want to find out if that happens a lot with you and your clients who are afraid to, tackle these institutions and have to let you fight their battles.
Yeah, but they won't. Like, that's the worst. Like, I love it when they allow me to protect them and use my knowledge and experience to their advantage. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what I'm here for. But unfortunately, too many people don't allow me to put, these people in their place. Like, wait a minute, you're negligent. And I've seen that in several situations where the tax preparer takes it personally. It's so bad that at this point, I have to tell clients, don't tell them that I told you this. Just go and tell them this. But don't say J.B. Bryan said this. Because if they go, J.B. Bryan noticed this on my return and it's wrong, then the tax preparer ego gets hurt. So and they'll say, no, I'm not going to do an amendment, even when they're wrong. Even when they're wrong. Like, and that to me is sick. So then the client has to go to another person to get the amendment done. That's why I'm making a major movement for all of my members to learn how to do their own tax return. Because if you learn the tax system and do your own tax return, the taxation system is not complicated. It is designed for the person to do their own taxes. Now, there's people, like I was saying during the break, talking to myself over here, that like Jada and Will, who may have complicated tax returns because of over the last 7 years, they've been doing married filing separately. But imagine if over the years, these last 7 years, because they're still married, they said, we're married. And they've been doing a joint tax return. They will be audited because of what she said. They will look into it. I'm telling you, I know it that the IRS is going to check on something as simple as that, and it could blow up everything. I mean, it could cost them.
Based on what
she said.
But
that's right.
Interesting.
Millions. It could cost them millions.
Look into that next time, JB.
That's right.
We got to run. How can folks reach you though if they want to join your AfroEconomics program?
Sure. And there's a free membership level, 1-844-522-7926. It's called No Excuses, because there's no excuse if you don't join something that is giving you free information. Get that free information. If you get to a situation where you step up, then you can always just go into where we have our individual meetings. But definitely 1-844-JBBRYAN, or just Google me. You'll get to me. But I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
And thank you. Are you going to stick around online to do take some more questions?
Just for questions. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
All right, folks. Again, I'm broadcasting on social media. If you got questions, you want to go on, you can talk to JB, post your questions there. I know people are going to already started with Will and Jada. You'll know that sign up folks want to discuss.
But what you say on it, what you say, you got to watch what you say. Yes, indeed. They're listening.
So true.
That's right. Take care. All right,
JB.
now. Thanks you. See you soon.
Thanks for sharing all this information, this financial information with us this morning. 5 minutes after the top of the hour, though, let's move on.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I want to make sure that we continue to discuss just the importance of this time of year, and on looking at your tax situation. Now, it's October. So this is a very good time to say, okay, how am I looking? How am I falling? Where's my income right now? What type of changes do I need to make in order to avoid a tax liability? You can't look at that in January. Like I was telling a lady that she keeps calling doing complimentary consultations. and I'm like, well, you have to get forward so that we can I can start getting your information. You're going to have to join so that we can start looking at specifically where you are. I have to start looking at last year's tax return, looking at the retirement plan that you have at work, looking at her thing was that she was her income came in higher than she expected, so she had taken advantage of the Obamacare, and her insurance was free, but her income was higher than what she said. And, so she thought that Obamacare, the healthcare.gov was horrible. And I was like, actually, no, you answered the question incorrectly. When they ask you, what is your income estimated to be, you cannot lie. You cannot put in and I'm not going to say anybody's lying, but you cannot, you're better off overestimating than underestimating if you don't like coming up with money later, because they're going to take it back. That's why they're asking. Anytime they ask you something, like I was saying with the Will and Jada situation, if they ask you on the taxes, you say married, filing jointly, and then you go on television and you say, we've been separated for 7 years, then there's an audit that you're triggering there and you don't realize it. There's everything is different on a tax return, married filing separately than married jointly. Like it was saying about, this of course isn't their situation, but it says on there about the child care credit and dependent care credit. If you're married and then they get $8,000. If you're married filing separately, they're supposed to be only taking the $4,000. But if they're doing the married return, they get the whole $8,000. So if you have, say they sold a primary residence. So if your primary residence is sold and you're married filing jointly, then you get $500,000 that doesn't have no capital gains taxation on that primary residence for that first $500,000 that you make on it. So you're totally, in a different situation. If it's married filing separately, then you're going to get the 250 and the 250. So everything 250,000, I'm saying. So would it, be, and it might work out to the same thing and it might not, because everything changes. Those are different returns. So they actually could say, well, according to your interview, you said, this, so I need you to do everything. I need you to get your tax preparer to do everything with married filing separately. But we're thinking, unfortunately, when we look at the situations about stuff, we're just looking at it from a social, personal perspective. No, the algorithm is all on it. All on it. Everything that we put in this computer now, everything that we say on this thing now, I play music. Sometimes the algorithm is pulling up the music that I'm playing in the background and saying, oh, that's copyright. But I don't monetize my stuff. But if I monetize the stuff, the things will have to go in. You have to edit. You have to take that song out, take it out, skip that part of it, everything. And they got it when I try to switch it over. If I tried to switch it over to monetize, and they go, you can't make any money off this because you got our song on here. And I have to come into here and say to Paul, the engineer, can you get this song out of here? And you got to pay more money because the engineer will have to figure out how to get the layers of it. They could take your voice out, but that's what they do. And the sound, but we have to start thinking like that. And I hope that they, using that as an example, have their things together. Because that financially, because it can just complicate things for them if they haven't been doing their tax return appropriately. And then if they go, look at what Biden's son is going through, over, the IRS. And we don't know if it's because of something he said or, whatever, but they're on it. And there's a commitment to the IRS to make sure that they are addressing higher income people. That there's too much money that is not being paid to us correctly. So that is like a big focus for them now, to make sure that the higher income, income people, even the businesses like Microsoft has been determined to owe like hundreds of millions of back taxes to the IRS, Microsoft, because they went back and said like 2007, 8, or 13 or whatever. It's old, like these multiple years that they didn't feel that they were doing their income, the foreign income versus US income correctly. No. So that like I was saying about with that client, that tax preparer, like, and all of these people had tax preparers. All of these people, like Wesley Snipes going in, like Wesley says, his tax preparer told him he doesn't have to pay taxes, So Wesley did the time. But did he really do the crime? So if Will ends up having to go through and pay for an audit, because of what was said that he didn't even say, he's going to have to pay the price, for anything that's not reflected in their returns, according to how they feel that those returns should have been done based on the information that has been disclosed. Or you married, or are you married filing separately? So these are like some really, really important stuff that we need to be, I'm thinking about just personally and I love that Carl asked me about like increasing your income as a grown person because of that I think we undervalue the amount of experience and the amount of skill and the amount of talent that we have, and we kind of just stop. We just stop working instead of repurposing. Just because you don't want to do that anymore, you can, speak with someone like me that has been an entrepreneur, be 30 years in 2025, you know, about how do I repurpose myself? And then you'll get, the tax benefits of writing off the expenses associated with creating that income. Because if you do what is seen as easy and then just go get another job and you're not at full retirement age, then they will take your Social Security compensation back. You only can make a certain amount of income in that W-2 job, where you could be focusing on building your business. If they're going to limit your income anyway, then invest the money that you're making in building something that will pay you forever. Let your business and your use of your experiences be your future income. Build a business in your 60s that you could sell in your 70s. Because now we're in such an electronic area, like you could build an app that could pay you. Like that can be your long-term care plan. Like you can build an app of some sort. You can build, so much things in technology now that you could do this without leaving your home. And I'm not advocating not leaving because we got to move, right? We've got to move around. But we can do things because you now have all of this knowledge, just your ideas. Write down your ideas. Then we connect with the right person that can help you bring that idea to the table. No, I remember, when I first said AfroEconomics, I got it. I got the website. I was like, I can't believe nobody has this, because I was like, I was so excited. And then I went to, started talking to people about it. And they were like, well, that's Black. You're really going to do that? Tell me, like, you're gonna say Afroeconomics? Like, that's like Black. This is way before like COVID. And during COVID and what George Floyd gave us permission to a lot of Black folk that they're allowed to be Black and natural and all that. I was Black and natural way before George Floyd. And it's sad to think of that. And then all of a sudden you're allowed now. You see, or all these commercials with fake hair weave, trying to represent that this is a natural Black woman with a weave. But we know this, and we're still allowing it to happen. You're talking about saving money, moving away from that, moving away from the commercialization of ourselves and starting to get grassroots, foot on the ground. This is how we save money. This is how we take care of ourselves. This is how I'm going to do it. And stop thinking about what everybody else is thinking about you. Because they don't care. We spend all this money trying to impress people that don't impact your income, not at all. Not at all. And we should, the people that we should be focusing on impressing are the people that God put you here to serve. That's who you should be serving. We should be putting everything into presenting our gifts and our skills to the world in a better way. Not in something that's not doing anything for us. Nothing, just some depreciating thing. No. And at night when I, sit there with whatever strength that I have left, and I sit and study, us and data analysis for us, so that I have a greater understanding of how to look at the numbers that are pushing resources towards our community. And the more that I study research, and how often I hear people say, well, you don't need to do that. It's not going to affect your income. You know what I'm saying? That income is nothing. We have to do things that impact the whole world. Income is nothing. Money is nothing. We got to get bigger than that. We have to think bigger than that. Just my income, God put me here to improve the entire planet. Your income, my little income, whatever. You know, we can do it. Oh, we spend and waste more money than we can even imagine. And I didn't want to say to Carl that, until I can get everybody in our community to stop wasting money. Now, if I just knew for sure that these people who are complaining about how much things cost, you know what I mean, were actually living within their means, not wasting, but sometimes I will be just sitting. I was sitting somewhere, I was waiting for an appointment, and I saw like 6 women that looked like me going into a restaurant. And it was like the middle of the week. 6 going into a restaurant. And I'm thinking to myself, not one of that 6 can actually cook. Now, how often do we actually ever see 6, 7 Black men in the middle of the week going in to just eat at an expensive restaurant? Do you know how much money those sisters must have spent? No, eating out is eating out. I don't care how much they charge you. It is not quality food. It is not quality food. So it doesn't even matter where we go to eat out when you eat out, because it's not going to get full. It's not going to give you nutritional value that you need. Even if they take a piece of fish, they got to put something sweet on it. So they're killing you. So you're wasting your money when we should be getting together. They should have met at somebody's house. They got a mortgage on it. They should have been meeting at someone's house, because they got a mortgage on the house. So they still got to pay for that house. So that they should have been meeting at the house in their kitchen with some healthy food. Everybody could have brought one thing. You bring broccoli, you bring this, you bring that, whatever y'all like to eat, and cook and then eat. I remember a time where I would have stopped somewhere. You think, oh, I need a biscuit, McDonald's biscuit or something. No, this morning I got up at 4 a.m., sliced my organic potatoes, sprayed it, little olive oil, make sure I'm picked, didn't put the Himalayan sea salt on it, put it in my little grill, then took the chicken that I cooked yesterday and then sliced up the chicken, put it in there. And at which point I wasn't even hungry, put it in my backpack. I can smell it now. And there is nothing. There's a McDonald's right across the street from the studio. And they would have to drag my butt in there to get me to go in there, because my bag is full of organic chicken, organic potatoes. I know I got good food in there. I got good food. That's going to help my mind. Woke up, took supplements, but we're doing what? Getting all together, wasting our money. They probably spent, and I don't even think about it, $50, $50, $50. And if they drink and you're pouring the alcohol into your breast cells, your chances of breast cancer increase drastically for people that drink even one drink a week. So stop the lie. We cannot turn up and prevent breast cancer. You can't walk 5 miles and then go drink the rest of the weekend and think you're going to be healthy. It's just not. It's killing us and it's costing us. And then as soon as we get sick, God forbid, that reduces your income potential immediately. I would like to think that I've gotten better over the years. Miss Person, you are truly blessed in so many ways. In so many ways. There are certain people that have made certain sacrifices and certain choices that have allowed them to be able to be comfortable, where they feel like they have a little extra. But of all the people I know on the planet, Miss Person, you do not waste money. You could have 2 of everything that you've got, and you don't. And you're blessed. So no. But for some of us, if you got it, then you got to show it. You got to have it. You can afford 3 of it, then you want 3 of it, 4 of it, 4 of it, 5 of it. But that's only because they're allowing you to get loans for it. How much do you actually own of it? You got to own it. Then it's an asset. We got to own this stuff. No, just because they're financing it, because you got these good jobs, and the government has made a commitment to reduce its payroll, more and more contractors. So gone is the time where a Black person can go to college, get on with the government, and think you got your career made for the rest of your life. It's not happening anymore. Some will, most won't. Most won't. The majority community, the majority of them do not work for a municipality. The majority of us do work for a municipality. And I believe that the wealth of our majority community exists because they have more businesses. We think that because we can get more debt, that's where the wealth will come. No. They own it. When you start a business, you already own something. You own it. Everything that we try to own, we try to finance to own it. And they go, oh, that's mine. It's mine. But it took you 20 years, 10 years, 30 years to get there. You start a business that generates income based on your talent and skill, you've got value immediately. You've got it. No, I think that we need to follow closely this situation with Donald Trump with New York, because they're saying that his properties in New York aren't worth what he said that they're worth. So when we say that our properties are worth a certain amount, you have to pay taxes on that certain amount. So I'm curious to find out how New York is going to back off. Because if they say that his properties aren't worth this amount, then they owe him some money. They owe him some taxes. Because you have to pay, you can't just make it up like, oh, this is worth $2 billion and tell the lenders that it's worth $2 billion, but never have to pay property taxes on that $2 billion. No, there's a disadvantage to elevating the value also. Right? Because it's there. It's there. So there are auditors from the state. If they are allowing someone to have a property that is, undervalued, they would be terribly bad. Then we really have a problem. We really have a problem if they're a municipality and they're letting people have properties that are undervalued. But that's not what they're doing, because I have clients all over, especially in small towns now, that are getting forms that are asking them to prove the income that they're getting on their properties because they want to bring up the value of that property. Because we're doing the opposite. We don't want the property to look really valued high until we're selling it. So I'm curious on how they're going to leverage this. Because if you're saying his stuff is overvalued, then how y'all going to pay him back? What is the value of it? Then give him some money back, because Or is it, that it's because if it's overvalued, he's been paying too much money? Or are they going to say it's overvalued when you do this, but you don't overvalue on our stuff? Well, whose fault is that? Because you know how much he leveraged it. So, and is it the financial institutions that are suing him? No, because I will argue most of the stuff that we all finance is overvalued. You get a car, you get this loan, they say it's worth $50,000. You try to sell it the next week, they only want to give you 40. It is overvalued. And they gave you a loan for it. So now you're upside down in it. Who helps us out? What do we do about that? So we follow this, case cycle. I think we're going to learn a lot about like asset valuation, how LLCs cannot protect you. That, we're like going and setting up these LLCs saying for some reason you think that you're not going to, get in any trouble because you got an LLC, when now they're going after these LLCs that have been set up and are not paying taxes. So, this is real. These are all LLCs that Trump has for him and his sons. That these are the things that are being addressed. They're still getting him personally, but it's the LLCs that did it, and they want to hurt him and his sons. Anybody that owns that LLC. So rethink the next time you think that LLC is going to stop you from going through something like that. That's not what it's designed for. It's designed to protect the partners from each other, but it does not allow a company to be negligent. Not at all. No, that's not what it is. It's not like to protect you from a client that you harmed or something that you did wrong. No, it's not. It's not. That's not what it is. And we should know that, but we're doing things because somebody's telling us that's what we should do, and then we just do it. But what if LLC is not appropriate? What if a sole proprietorship would be better? What if a S corp would be better? What if a C corp would be better? That's why we have the entrepreneurship membership. We need to look at all of that. Don't just do what everybody else does. It doesn't mean that that's what's best for you. Doesn't. It's so good to see y'all this morning. I'm going to leave you now. If you have any questions, I'm gonna try to put. And then I'm gonna put the number up. I'm gonna ask my engineer to play our theme music. So when you have this recorded, you will also have the information. So Paul, we're good. You can play. I'll be here. I'll watch your chat for a minute. I'm JB Bryan, the creator of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial empowerment program based on 10 timeless financial principles like generational wealth and legacy, financial knowledge, credit confidence, entrepreneurship, self-reliance, and more. AfroEconomics gives you the guidance and tools you can use to develop and sustain wealth. Check out AfroEconomics on your favorite social media platforms. You will find us everywhere. Plus, enjoy my weekly AfroEconomics podcast. There are many levels of AfroEconomics membership, including the free online access membership level called No Excuses. So make no excuses and check out AfroEconomics.com today. Powered by JB Bryan Financial Group, Incorporated, a registered investment advisory firm. Hashtag AfroEconomics. Thank you, Carl Nelson. Thank you. You all have a wonderful day. Right? Thank you. And thank you in your studios. for being the best.